things we do in schools automatically that are the same processes that form the framework for the professional learning communities at work model. We do them already, we just don't call them that, but it's the same thing. And here's the big point. Those are the very same things we'd want for our own child. I was having dinner with a friend last night. We're talking about schools that, how do you get people to do this? You know, what about the people who are resistant, or reluctant? Well, what I find interesting about that, the very people who are resistant to implementing the PLC process are not resistant to those practices for their own child. I mean, you could actually ask them, which part of this would you not want for your own child? You want us to quit trying to be clear about what we want your child to learn? Maybe we should just be more vague about that. You don't want us to check, maybe we should, let's just do away with the part where we check along the way to see if your own child's learning. Most people want that for their own kid. And here's one that really, the very people who might be opposed to a plan to give kids additional time and support, for their own child, they want a teacher who will help their kids along the way, giving them additional time and support. Or work with their colleagues in collaborative teams so that together they can offer a more planned, common sense approach to learning. So I always think that's a really terrific question to ask ourselves. What kind of school would we want for our own child? Surely it would be as good as the football program, you would think. Now, ultimately all this matters because of the impact on a kid. I mean, just because we're successful in things, that's important in terms of publicity or test scores or whatever. But what it matters is when it affects the life of a child. So I'm going to close with this video, and I hope you'll find that it has meaning for you.
Grace Athena High School in Rochester, New York has a new, most unlikely hero, a special ed student by the name of Jason McElwain.
Just keep it going.
Jason is the basketball team manager. For the past couple years, he's been assisting Coach Jim Johnson, helping with whatever the team needs.
And go! Get him motivated and your hand out water and just be enthusiastic.
Enthusiastic, to say the least. Despite being born with autism, Jason's father says his son has never had a problem expressing himself at basketball games.
You know, I was always concerned that he might get a technical and they lose a game because he, you know, start yelling or whatever.
Let's have a hard practice tomorrow, all hour and a half, and let's get ready for Arcadia. Let's go.
1, 2, 3, 2.
Because he has been so devoted to the team, for the last game of the season, Coach Johnson decided to let Jason actually suit up. Not to play necessarily, just to let him feel what it's like to wear a jersey.
At least that was the plan. But with 4 minutes to go in last week's game, Coach Johnson stood up and pointed to number 52, Jason McElwain. After years of fetching water and toweling off other people's sweat, Jason was actually in a game. His first shot was a 20-footer from the right baseline.
Was it close? Did you almost make it?
I just airballed it.
I'm like, just, dear God, please, let's just get him a basket.
His second shot missed too, but the third was a charm. A three-point no-doubter. And Jason wasn't done yet. Not by a long shot.
If I wasn't there to witness it, I wouldn't have believed it, you know.
You caught fire.
I just caught fire. I was hot as a pistol.
Jason ended up shooting 6 3-pointers. One right after the other. He had 20 points total, and each time a shot went in, his teammates and the crowd went a little crazier. His last basket, right at the buzzer, created total mayhem. Because he is autistic, Jason says he's used to feeling different, but never this different. Never this wonderful. Steve Hartman, CBS News, Rochester, New York.
Isn't that a terrific video? Every time I watch that, I have a couple of recurring thoughts. Excuse me. One of them is, I think at the next faculty meeting, I would, in front of everybody, have the coach stand up and thank him publicly for letting Jason go into that game. I mean, think about that. And then after that, I think I would be in my office and I'd have the coach come into my office. I'd close the door and say, what have you been thinking? Why in the world didn't you play Jason all year? Look at our record, you know. He scored 20 points, 2 minutes. I mean, goodness. So anyway, here's my final thoughts. I want to thank you for watching our breakout today and being part of this. My hope is that this virus gets under control and we can meet in person. I'd love to do that in person. And my wish for you is to stay happy, stay healthy. Thank you very much.